I think there's a stigma around taking any antidepressants, right? Especially as athletes, because we're told, to push through. And, as a swimmer, I'm racing the clock and I push my body so hard every single day, multiple times a day, that I just remember thinking, why can't I just get through this? I've competed in 5 Paralympic Games, and after every Paralympics from the time that I was 12 years old, there's always that post blues, right? It's just this feeling of what next, and you're on such a high, and then all of a sudden it comes just crashing, right? And you're not in your routine anymore, and you just don't even know what to do. And for me, after Tokyo, I had success, right? I won 3 gold medals, 2 silver and a bronze, but I was out of my routine and I was just struggling and didn't even know what to do or how to keep moving forward. And I really, really struggled because it wasn't me, right? I didn't feel like myself, bubbly, happy, just full of life. I normally am. And I just remember really struggling. And I had never been that type of person to not want to get out of bed or to not want to get my nails done or just things that brought me joy. And it wasn't getting better. I just realized that I couldn't do it on my own. And I think there's so much power in being vulnerable, right? And I think, my whole life I've had to be so vulnerable with being an amputee or being an athlete. I didn't know how to be vulnerable with my mental health. And I just really thought, okay, what do I do? My 2 little sisters have really struggled with their mental health, so they had been on antidepressants for a little bit. And I think for me, when I decided to do it was scary, right? It was really scary. And just, I remember thinking it wasn't that big of a deal, but when it came time to have to take them every day, it was really, really a challenge. Just thinking that, wow, I feel like a failure. I have a therapist that I've talked to for 7 years. And, we say the same thing sometimes over and over again, but just this idea that, it's okay to not be okay. And it doesn't really define you. And there is so much power in being vulnerable. And it took them for a little bit for just what was needed. And I just knew that I wanted to get back to feeling like me and getting back into a routine. And that's kind of why I took them. I think there's a stigma around taking any antidepressants, right? Especially as athletes, because we're told, to push through. And, as a swimmer, I'm racing the clock and I push my body so hard every single day, multiple times a day, that I just remember thinking, why can't I just get through this? Why do I feel so off? What am I doing wrong? And that was probably the hardest part, is this just that I couldn't work through it for some reason. And I'm like, I have overcome every single obstacle that's ever come my way, right? I was adopted from Russia, born without my legs, became a Paralympic champion 3 times when I was 12 years old. And I just remember thinking, I can't get through this. And it was just so bizarre. I think it's important to get rid of that stigma because I think more people are hurting than we know, right? And I think everyone has their own internal battles. It's been really, really important to have those conversations. And I think it's like a ripple effect, right? When you are able to talk with your teammates, and our teammates, we can relate to each other so well with being part of Team USA or being in an elite atmosphere. I think the reception that I got just when I started being vocal about it was really positive, right? And I wouldn't probably have been able to take antidepressants if it wasn't for a few of my teammates who were on them as well. And I think just, again, getting rid of that stigma that, there's something wrong with you, or wow, you're so weak, or you couldn't do it on your own. I think we have to start getting rid of that stigma, and it's okay to not always have it together. It's okay to not always be super positive, that it's actually really human and normal to have bad days and to be sometimes negative and to to go through a tough season. And I think we just have to continue to normalize it.